Many students at Purdue University have to take classes in large lecture halls. Most of these classes are general education requirements that many students have to take. It is often a shock for a freshman to walk into a lecture hall with several hundred students. Undergraduate students usually only have classes that are in large lecture halls early on in their college careers. Because of this, students may develop bad learning and studying habits. Since they do not interact with their professors and may not actively listen to the lecture and can be distracted by social media, drama, and their cell phones. The lack of student and professor communication can lead students into feeling like another face in the crowd. Many Purdue students can agree that having classes in large lecture halls early on in their academic career can impact your learning and cause difficulties on multiple levels.
I don't have a relationship with him at all. I don't know him, he doesn't know me.
I've kind of adapted my own learning style, and you have to keep up with the readings and go to lectures. You should read before you go to lecture, so then that way you're kind of teaching yourself. Going into lecture blindsided and not really knowing what the material is going to be on is kind of not beneficial to learning, because you don't have the personal relationship. You can't directly ask, usually in front of a large lecture. It's uncomfortable and awkward.
The professor at least knows my name and my face.
I have smaller classes now that range from 30 to 60 people, and you get on a more personal basis. The professor knows your name, they call out your name, you come and get your test, you receive your quizzes, your homework personally from the professor. They can personally see how you're developing in the class and how your learning style is. So I feel like that's definitely beneficial, because you don't want to disappoint someone that knows you.
Oh, you just can't. I mean, it's crazy. There's people you never know. You'll see them at the end of the semester, and they'll look like strangers.
Does that bother you as a professor?
Yeah, especially for freshmen, because they're lost. You lost them. They didn't learn the love of learning.
With this learning environment, students feel like they are not pressured to answer any questions, and they may not feel obligated to attend class because of the lack of attendance policies, and that they may think they can teach themselves better than their professors.
I think it definitely lowers the amount of effort you put in, given the fact that it's smaller and you're less involved. I definitely, especially in those classes, I don't go out of my way to study extra. I don't meet anybody. I'm not going to concern myself with knowing any one of the 600 people in my psychology class's names. It's just not important to me. And I definitely don't go to office hours. He has 600 students in one class, and he has 2 or 3 of those classes, so it's not worth it.
I like studying alone and then teaching myself and kind of getting a feel for the material. Then I'd usually meet up with people and we'd go over how we perceive the information, see if we're kind of on the same learning track. And then usually the only time I'd ever go to office hours or kind of communicate with the TA is if I'm really blindsided by the material.
I understand that they have to have them. You have certain classes that are required for everyone to graduate, and it's more of a check the boxes, make sure everyone takes it kind of thing. They're not really concerned about participation. I find that when they have a lot of the more complicated classes, like higher end maths and more major specific classes, they make them a lot smaller.
Purdue is making efforts to improve lecture halls by trying to engage student learning with iClickers and other learning tools. In the recently added Armstrong Hall of Engineering, the typical auditorium-style lecture is not present. With these new classroom styles, students are engaged in group activities and actively participate in a lecture-type atmosphere. According to an article written by Matt Lidner in 2002, the assistant campus editor of The Exponent at the time, classes at Purdue are overcrowded because of increased enrollment. In this article, to solve the issue of overcrowding, it was proposed that Purdue build new classrooms on campus. But the time it would take to submit such a plan and for the plan to go into action would be longer than expected. Since that article came out, there have been 2 new academic buildings built on campus, such as Marriott Hall and the Armstrong Hall of Engineering. But in this same time, it seems that Purdue has focused more of their efforts on athletic facilities such as the newly remodeled CoRec and Mackey Arena, as well as a new baseball field and a new soccer field. Though it's now 2012 and the problems still haven't been fixed, we are still faced with having to attend lectures with several hundred students. These lecture halls do not provide a good learning environment for incoming students. They also hinder the development of relationships with their professors, as well as having productive study habits for their following years here at Purdue.
I think a large lecture hall shouldn't exist.